You guys have just sold out the United Center to over 10,000 tickets in a day. I know you might not be able to say anything, but obviously the big speculation is CM Punk. If CM Punk was to return to wrestling, specifically AEW, you've wrestled him before. He's in the book as well from your series you had in 2012,
sure, many
2013.
times, yeah.
Would you like to see him in AEW?
Well, I mean, the short answer is of course. I mean, he's one of the few guys out there that's kind of, has this mythology surrounding him because he hasn't wrestled in so long. And take Punk out of the equation, and Sting is with us now, and Edge is back in WWE, Christian's with us. But you take, other than that, guys who haven't wrestled for a long time, he's probably at the top of the list unless you're going to throw Steve Austin in there. And, Steve's not going to come back. So, it would create a huge buzz that would, add to the already huge buzz that we have. And I think just the fact that 12,000 tickets sold at the United Center without one name even being announced or one match even be announced shows just how much anticipation there is for all of these things. So, we'll see what happens. And I honestly really don't know. It's something that I know nothing about. Obviously it's intriguing and I'll be watching along with everybody else to see what happens. But we've got great momentum without Punk, and we'll have great momentum continuing without him, and great momentum with him if he shows up. So either way, I think we've built ourselves up into a great position right now.
And I want to ask you about the match last week with Nick Gage on Dynamite. I mean, I never thought I'd see Chris Jericho in that style of match on TNT. Talk about the match coming about. Whose idea was it? What was your initial reaction to doing it? And were you happy with how it turned out?
Well, I'm not being egotistical when I say, of course it was my idea. And of course I was fine with it because I thought of it. I booked the whole match as well. And I want you to really think about what you said. You never thought you'd see Chris Jericho in that type of match. Maybe not on TNT, but why wouldn't you see Chris Jericho in that type of match? Because I've done every other match. I've had, go back to the book. I had the first ever barbed wire match in Canadian history in 1993 against Beef Wellington. And, did the thumbtack bump with Moxley in the Ambrose Asylum match, and all that type of stuff. If the story fits, I'll do it because it is all about storytelling. And it's not like, obviously it's not something I would want to do every night or probably will ever do again. But when you're talking about the story that we're telling, it was perfect for it. And I think that match was a classic in its genre. I think it might even be the most watched death match of all time. And the fact that we had 1.2 million people watching it. Show me another death match that had that type of viewership. So it really did do what we wanted it to do, which was kind of extend this storyline and create a stir and create a buzz. So like I said, was it something that I would ever volunteer to do again? Probably not. But was it something that completely was 1,000% approved and basically, thought of by me? Well, guilty as charged.
And you put a pizza cutter on the map as well on TNT. The pizza cutter.
We always try. Exactly. I also put a clipboard on the map a few years prior, so it's kind of what I do.
I do need to ask you about Vince McMahon's comments. He did say in the conference call last week that he doesn't see AEW as competition like he did WCW. Were you surprised to hear him say it, or did you think that's the kind of thing he would say if he was asked about it?
Well, what else is he going to say? And to respond to that, like, we don't see WWE as competition. And he was smart to say that. We're not worried about what WWE is, and we haven't been since day one. We weren't worried about what NXT did. The whole time there was the NXT versus AEW war, which ended in a total abysmal failure for NXT. We never once had a TV screen watching what they were doing when we were doing it. We didn't know what segments they were in. We didn't know any of that. Now, WWE way is you watching what the competition is doing when they were on. We didn't do that. And it was no disrespect. We just didn't care. We were too busy worrying about our own company and about our own stories and about our own show to care what anybody else is doing. And that's one of the reasons why we did so well, is that we were concentrating on AEW, not anything else. We could not control the fact that NXT was put up against us. We couldn't control the fact if, there's a Beatles reunion put up against us, whatever. We can't control that. all we can control is our own show and the quality of what we're doing. And we've worked very hard to improve the things that need improving and to focus on the things that we're doing great. And I think, that's one of the reasons why we've gone as far as we have and why our demos have creeped up to where they are and where our ratings have creeped up to where they are. So WWE is not a competition for us. We're competition for ourselves. So for Vince to say that, to me, it's probably reverse psychology and that he does see us as competition. But deep down inside, what does it really matter? The WWE is the WWE, and they have, billions of dollars locked in TV deals, and we are working towards that. Now, when our demo ends up beating theirs and, TV deals start coming in for us at the billions, then I truly think there will be a lot of competition, because now you're fighting for money. You're not just fighting for bragging rights, and bragging rights don't mean anything. It's the money that you make from it that counts. So we'll see what happens.
And my last question is just, you guys are in such a high right now, the packed out shows. And, the other week we had a fan who ended up trying to jump the guardrail and all that. He even ended up with you and Jim Cornette being on the same page again, it seemed, on Twitter. In terms of that kind of stuff happening, what I thought was really interesting was, if that had been in WWE, as an example, it felt like, there wouldn't have been a chance to ad lib and to kind of react to situations. But you guys, you and MJF, were able to sort of use that and put it into your promo and sort of make it better. I mean, is that something that you think, with you guys having that freedom, that it kind of helps for, situations like that you don't expect?
Well, I mean, let's not get carried away here. I mean, there was stuff that you would do on the fly in WWE all the time. I mean, constantly you could do that sort of stuff because you never know what's going to happen. And obviously some guys are more equipped to be able to do that than others. But I could tell you a dozen times when things happen in WWE that you just go with the flow. I can tell you when I changed finishes on the fly in WWE. I was supposed to beat Ricky Steamboat once, and I changed it to him winning because it just felt that's what the crowd wanted. Mm-hmm. So it's not that bad. At least it wasn't for me. But, in the case of number one, just don't try and get in the ring. It's a great rule. Just don't. You can't win. It's not funny, and you're not tougher than we are, and it's not going to work. So just don't do it, and save yourself that hassle, and save us the hassle of having to, knock you about. So it happens sometimes. And the best thing is you can see them coming from a mile away. And the guys always think that they're creeping up. It's like, I saw that guy 3 minutes before he even got on the stage, and like, okay, because there's a rule that King Haku taught me. Everybody has to get into the ring. Think about that. They have to get into the ring. And unless you're Big Show going over the top rope, and even then a quick punch to the balls will stop you. Everybody has to get into the ring. When you get into the ring, how do you do that, Kenny?
You have to go through the ropes.
Exactly. When you get through the ropes, your head is there. Perfect size for a nice football kick. You're going to get your fucking head kicked in. There's the football chant right there. And that's what's going to happen to you when you try and get into the ring at any time.
A good lesson for any idiot to take in. Well, listen, Chris, I want to thank you for the time.
Last question for you. Pick a number between 1 and 700.
362.
362. Let's see where we're at. 362. And that would be August 5th, 1994. Wow. 362. It's the famous Night of the Legends match, Thrill Seekers versus the Heavenly Bodies, where I broke my arm. I pinned Jimmy Del Rey with a roll-up, and there was a crowd of 4,500 people, 4-star match, and I got paid $500.
And look how far you've come. Look how far you've come.
Right there. And that's the thing too. And one last thing is when I came up with the idea for this book, I have 4 New York Times bestsellers, and the publisher said, this is too much of a niche product. It'll never sell. So I published it myself, and now we're almost sold out of the first printing. So if you want this, people are like, when is it available in Scotland? When is it available in Poughkeepsie, New York? Mm-hmm. It's available now, Jericho30.com. When's it going to be in the bookstores? Never, because the publisher said it's not going to sell. So I did it myself. So if you want to check it out, it's Jericho30.com. Don't wait for it to come into Waterstones, because it ain't going to be there. And don't wait for it to come on sale in your specific country, because it already is at Jericho30.com.
That's where you got to go. You got to check it. Chris, I want to thank you as always.
All right, Kenny.
Continued success and good luck.
Thank you, buddy. We'll see you soon.
Take care.